Bottom right, we have our Protoss player, the Casper player, starting in the red. It is
SK Telecom T1 Rain.
Representing SK Telecom, big company in Korea.
And he is up against the Zerg player. Starting to the top left. Starting in the blue. For Casper's 8, it is.
And they got that
ST
funny face
GD.
on. And you know, he's sponsored by the clothing company Undefeated. And so far in the losers bracket, man, that's what he's been living up to.
That's actually perfectly right. This is exactly what he has been living up to so far. And let's see what's going on in this game. We are on Ohana, we are on a 2-player map, and Rain already has his first probe, his opponent's main base, trying to screw up the mining a little bit for his opponent.
Yeah. And Jaedong he's gonna, I mean, we talked about this before. You said on Ohana, or rather on Entomb Valley, you'd rather see a slow style, and I think that can work for Jaedong, especially because Muse are so hard to make work there. But against Rain on a map like this, Rain will take the third, he will hold it, and then Jaedong is going to have to deal with trying to hold his fourth base carefully. And on this map, fourth base is oftentimes a problem for Zerg against a Protoss who gets that third base easily.
It's definitely a very difficult matchup to approach for a Zerg player on Entomb Valley. But well, right now we are on Ohana, we have the expansion being built, just started, the Nexus is being warped in. And even though Rain just tries to block this hatch, he slips a bit with his probe micro, and Jaedong uses the chance to build his hatch immediately, of course, starting things off with a pool. The Overlord sees now the timing for the Forge, knows exactly that there was the Nexus first.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, Jaedong is a man of many talents and many strategies. He actually, I remember his opening match was actually played on this map for Starcraft 2. He played a Pro League, and he played with burrowed movement roaches against a Protoss, and he's improved so much since then, if you think back to that match. But I'm curious to see what his plan of attack is going to be, because Rain, I mean, I would bet big money that he is just going to go for that third. And how will Jaedong punish him? Will he even try to punish him at all? Will he take a faster fourth instead?
If you're able to take down a player like Leon with the 2-0, then, and all the other Zerg players that he's faced so far, then you are really comfortable in this matchup. You just know that you can pull it off. On the other hand, it gives Jaedong the opportunity to really prepare well for this match in particular, because he just can observe how Rain approaches the matchup. So Jaedong with probably a lot more information here about his opponent's playstyle than the other way around, and this could help him in the series a lot.
Yeah. I want to mention that Jaedong kept a drone patrolling around his naturals to make sure there was no cannoning going on there. He did not do the same of his third, but it's very recently been added, and Rain will scout this actually with his probe right now.
Rain is completely skipping on the Zealot at this point.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a Zealot out, he's just playing the super safe, and this is actually, sorry, not super safe, he has the scouting on the map, but he's not going for any kind of early Zealot. He really wants to save those. There it is, really late though.
Yeah, a little bit of an odd choice. Allows him to keep his probe production a little bit more smooth, but pretty unusual to skip the Zealot like that. Probe will mineral walk his way back home, and the Zealot actually cancelled in favor of a Stalker as he starts Warp Gate research. No +1, and the Overlord positioning of Jaedong is not going to allow him to hide a tech right now, so he's going to wait just a little bit longer. Starting to look like it may be Stargate.
Yeah, and the Stargate definitely an opening on this map that is very, very strong. We've seen this in the past happening. On the other hand, you can go for Blink Stalkers with +2 here, and for the Immortal Push. It's just a great map for a lot of different 2-base timing attacks. And here's already not Stargate, but our robotics facility.
Yeah, Stargate on this map is, I would say, less popular than Robo, because it's so easy to push with Immortals here, with the way that the map is. It's a 2-player map, and Rain is just being very aggressive with his first Stalker right now. He's going to be very careful with it, though. One misstep and Jaedong will surround and kill it. But this is, you know, what it shows to be a T1 player, you know, having that great control. Picks off a Ling, goes around, checks the Watchtower for a second, makes sure no more Lings are coming.
Yeah, but he definitely can't afford to lose the Stalker, and this is the one risk that you always run when you have the Stalker out in the map. And if you lose the Stalker, you lose your grasp on the map, you don't know what's going on anymore, you can't pressure your opponent, can't control the Zanaga Watchtowers. But at this point, Rain now with the additional gateways at the bottom right, he's starting his +1, well, the +1 attack up timing has been started. And we are most likely going to see a couple of Immortals being built very soon.
Yes. going to rally them out right after that Observer is done. And he's going to go for a similar Warp Prism aggression to what we saw in our last best of 3.
This is actually, if he decides to get the Immortals after this is a little bit the style that we saw at first on Metropolis when the Immortal push became popular. That Protoss players started with the Warp Prism first before they started their Immortal production, tried to harass with the Immortal, with the Warp Prism, do some damage, and just make sure that they kind of occupy and set up a distraction while they prepare the push.
Yes. And here comes the drop. This is, I mean, he's not going to drop in the main, he's just going to go right to the third. We saw this just earlier on this very map.
It's the same strategy, basically. He's not going for any kind of Immortal follow-up. No, he's using the same strategy that we saw on Daybreak.
And Jaedong sees it with his Zerglings. Great amount of control of the map here. Instead of using an Overlord, which is vulnerable to die, and he's not going to have complete vision, he sends 2 Lings over there. Perfectly done. Now he can prepare for this, can make the extra roaches he needs to defend. He's even bringing his Queens over. Totally ready to go here.
On the move, +1 lining up nicely, and we have already, well, there's 1 Immortal building, but the Roaches are also on the production tab. So with a +1 attack upgrade and with the speed coming up, he's in a decent position here, trying to pick off those Zealots cost efficiently, but we have another Warp in at the bottom, at the top right, but the Warp Prism is endangered here, and it dies.
Yeah, Warp Prism dies, so he's not going to be able to escape here, but he will get one of the Queens. It's been trapped. He's going to take out several drones as well, but, you know, minimal damage being done here by Rain. And actually, a lot of the drones still alive. Now he starts targeting them down. But he's going to lose so much here, losing the sentries and zealots.
That was, I don't know if that was really worth it. He killed 10 harvesters, which is always a great thing to accomplish. But on the other hand, losing those sentries is really a big deal. The Warp Prism is dead, the sentries are dead. This is just so much gas invested.
And Roach speed on the way, +1, all lining up at a normal timing. Rain may decide to just follow this up with an attack, as that did not do very much damage. He's got Blink on the way, but he equally has the opportunity to take a third base. And with the rocks being destroyed like this, it's starting to seem like that's his plan here.
But Jaedong is in a great position here. His economy is still looking really strong. He's getting additional Queens now. He has the Infestation Pit on its way. The creep spread is decent. He's making sure that he can see any attack coming from miles away. So with all that he took down, he knows that the attack is a little bit slowed down for Rain. And Jaedong just looking at a very stable and well-positioned build.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going into the next phase here. I really like that he makes his macro hatch at the third. What is your opinion on this, actually? Because I think that, you know, a lot of people really like to make it at the natural. It feels safer, but if you make it at your third and you have that extra production there, you also have a hatchery that's nearby. If you lose one of your hatches there, you're still not really that long-distance mining. You can do a little bit of extra there. I really like that position for the macro hatch.
I'm a little bit more of a fan of having it either natural. It depends a little bit on the map, of course, but usually... Not Ohana specifically, usually I'm more of a fan of having it at your natural or
for example,
at your main
Metropolis is not a map to do that on.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is just like, if you lose your third, you can just still fall back, but if you lose suddenly 2 hatches, the production losses are so significant, so usually I'm more of a fan of having it in the main base or at the natural.
Jaedong is not out of this yet, though. Rain's got a strong army moving across. It forces 50 Lings to be made, and he's taken that aggressive fourth. One thing to note is that he still has not touched his rocks in between his natural and his third base. This could become a problem for him later on.
Yeah, this is a little bit weird, especially because he has the roaches on the map, and he could just dedicate a little bit of time to taking down these rocks. Yeah. The transition now for Rain is right into Colossi, and we have Jaedong already with the first set of Infestors on the way. And he's really looking at a great economy here, and also at a very good army. He's nearly doubling his opponent's army supply. He's not gonna... I don't think that it would be a good choice to attack into the third. This is something that we talked about in the past. It's just way too risky. With good force fields, a Zerg player can really lose an entire army here. So taking a fourth, as he already did, and just relying on his tech would be the much better choice, especially with the positioning of the buildings that right now.
I think he's just going to poke here, try to maybe take out the Forge. If his opponent overextends or makes a mistake, he can use his Fungals or Infested Terrans really well here. And that's exactly what he's doing. Now the units go out of position. He goes into the third. If he can Fungal on the ramp here, that would be great, and he does. But this is a bit maybe overcommitting. He will take out several Stalkers, though, with these Lings, but the majority of his Lings are not able to fire.
And now Infestors are being trapped, and most of them, ouch. This really hurt, and this, I really, really hate this push.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I like the idea of trying to trap the units on the ramp, maybe pick off the Forge, but he wasn't able to get the Forge, wasn't able to really kill any of these Immortals, and now Rain is approaching max, and he's got the army composition to fight Jaedong, and Jaedong's got less Infestors on the map now. Oh, this is crucial, though. There's no wall, and the Lings do get into the natural. He's going to try to fight here again, but this time there are Colossi with the Immortals.
Exactly, Colossi in the picture as well, but the Immortals are a bit out of position, and this is going to prove a problem.
Yeah.
Jaedong is now in a much better position because there were no force fields, and this is really what you need if you want to pull off this attack.
And there's so many Zealots that are very useless against these Roaches who are now closing the distance, and Jaedong is dropping in supply like crazy, but he is trading. The problem is he has not eliminated any of the important Colossi. The Immortals still remain alive. Now he's on the retreat. Rain has a timing here, potentially.
I mean, even though Rain had a problem because he didn't have the force fields in position and Jaedong got the best engagement possible, he still lost way too much. And I really hate this push, as pointed out earlier. The thing is, from 10 times where I've seen this push, it maybe worked once. And every single time, the Zerg player just lost way too much. And you can trade a little bit cost inefficiently if you have the better economy, but just falling back onto a macro game is the better choice. Trying to delay the fourth of your opponent for as long as possible, taking up to Hive, getting those spine crawlers, having the infestors to back it up and to delay any incoming pushes is the much better choice.
Yeah, see, now Rain's got 3 Colossi, so he can afford to make double Immortals, which he's doing. He's going to hit with +3s, making a bunch of Stalkers, and he's taking a supply lead in a situation where this should not have happened.
Yeah, the thing is, it's very tempting though as a Zerg. You are in this position, you know you're ahead in army supply, and just bullying your way through is always really tempting. But with good force fields, as we've seen with the first defense, the Protoss player can do oh so much to really shield his Immortals and later the Colossi and do the damage.
Now, Jaedong had a flank set up over here on the left side, but now it's been spotted, and Jaedong feels a little bit uncomfortable because he also spots the Warp Prism. And he's bringing 1 Infestor back to deal with this. I think he's going to need more than that because this Spire is so vulnerable right now. Zealots have +2. They're going to rip through that so quickly. The Infestor is actually not in position to spot the drop. If he actually targets the Spire down, this could be crucial.
At this point, we have now the Spine Crawlers a little bit later than expected here, and the War Prism is still just standing there. The army supply for Rain is so much better. Now he pushes out. He still has, well, now he's a little bit harder to attack into the Spine Crawlers, but as he pointed out earlier, he had a timing where he could have attacked. Now the War Prism comes in, but a little bit too late.
Yeah,
as
now he's got the Zealots. I mean, rather the Roaches there.
Yeah, exactly. Jaedong has defenses.
And he's going to take this War Prism out, but he's going to make sure he pulls these units back to defend very soon because Rain, with a huge army split, actually, supply lead could attack the 4th base. He's dealing with the counterattack meanwhile, though, and he's got to be careful with his Colossus. He's going to lose it.
Yes, not paying too much attention to the Colossus. The Roaches are dead, but that was a way better trade for Jaedong right now. The 4th is going to die, though.
And he doesn't have another hatchery. He has not taken the base to the south of his main either, so he's going to lose a lot of mining and production here.
He tried to take a base to the left side of the map, but he had to cancel. There's 1 Zealot already in. Now suddenly Jaedong is on 3 bases. And as pointed out earlier, this is not the situation that he had to be in. He was in a better position, but right now this is actually going to be really dangerous.
This could be game-ending.
Yeah.
Rain is up 50 supply. You're GG.
Offensive blink by Rain. He knows that he has the better army supply. He